It's been a bruising week for the markets as the trade war raged on. The bond market sell-off also ignited fears of a recession and shook confidence in US assets. For more now on this, I'm joined by SABC News Economics editor Tshepo Mongoai. Good afternoon and welcome.
Afternoon, Juliet.
What a week.
No, absolutely. One doesn't know where to start.
Well, let's start with the markets. A bruising week on the markets. Take us through that.
Absolutely. We've seen some serious sell-offs across globally.
Yeah.
You look at Wall Street down with some significant decline. Percentage-wise, we're looking at about 10%. GSE also, in some instances, we're double-digit decline. These levels are unprecedented on the local equities, just wiping out trillions of US dollars in investment, and it doesn't seem to be giving us any direction in terms of where it's going. Well, it's so difficult to make sense or to analyze this market whatsoever.
Well, China and US trade war continues, although China did say they're not going to raise their tariffs anymore.
Very interesting, because at some point, because these tariffs are so high, comes a time where it really doesn't make any impact anymore because it's just expensive anyway. Sure. So, but what's interesting, Juliet, is I want to see how the rating agencies will come into this picture and make an assessment, particularly on the US. There are some fundamental shifts and changes in the US economy. Clearly, that is going to affect their budgets going forward. The talk of a recession, you've seen some of the international financial institutions, they've actually increased the possibilities of a recession, some as high as 60% chances of the US falling into a recession. So let's wait and see if rating agents, there are people who are saying they can be biased sometimes, but the reality is
you can't ignore what's been going on.
There are shifts in the US economy in terms of being a superpower. This X will fall on many other economies in terms of the risk as per rating agencies. We soon will probably get a review from one of those three international, but the US and China are going to be very interesting to see how the rating agency are going to release, make the assessment.
Sure. Gold surges to an all-time high. Not really a surprise though. Gold is a safe haven.
At some point, that's the point that I'm making is so difficult to make sense of this market. We've seen gold slipping.
Yes.
At some point, just around 2,900. At the height of some of the tit-for-tat tariff highs. And there were analysts who were saying, is gold still the safe haven? And there were analysts who were saying, they don't think so. So it looks like gold has lost its appeal. Of course, we've seen the recent rally. Gold touched a record high of $3,000 an ounce, and it was a major thing. But we actually thought that we're going to slip and fall below that 3,000, which it did briefly. But now we're seeing that gold is touching a record high. Is it really because people are concerned and they realize that there's nowhere else to put their money, and then gold is now regaining its status? It's hard to tell with this particular market if indeed we could see more upward movement in the yellow metal, but traditionally we know it is. So hopefully it will retain that status.
Well, it's very volatile at the situation, whichever way you cast your eye. Look at Treasury bonds.
Yeah, that's another area of concern, of course. Treasury bonds traditionally in most countries, including South Africa, it is the most safest assets where you put your money. Of course, sometimes it depends where it is. The interest might not be that high, depending where you look and which country it is in terms of the yields. But we know it is the most safest place. But for the first time in the US, there is a reevaluation of how investors look at the US Treasury. And you get a sense that they're saying, this is probably not the safest. Is it because of the shift that we are seeing, or is it because there are some serious risks that could emanate from the US economy because of this global recession, that perhaps this might not be the safest place to put their money.
Well, we're going to have to wrap it there. I'd love to chat to you a little bit more, but I'm sure next week holds some more very interesting moves. We'll keep our eye on that, and hopefully we can chat to you then. Thanks very much for joining us. That was SABC News Economics editor Tshepo Mongoai chatting to us about the very volatile week with all those tariff wars going on.